All right, so we are going to talk about another two chapter from Successful Technician book. Remember, we covered the chapter 1 and chapter 5 before. This is the chapter 10 and 12 from the book, and this is again not a math chapter, so there is no homework for this one, but this will be part of your test 2. Remember, in the test 1 we had a section where we only answered the questions from chapter 1 and chapter 5 of the Successful Technician book. Similarly, we'll have a section in test 2 where we'll be answering the questions from this chapter. But there is no practice questions because these are not like math problems, right? Now, in this chapter, we'll be talking about some essential strategies for building a again, that's the name of the book. So here in the chapter 10, we are trying to summarize a little bit from chapter 10 and 12. Chapter 10, we will actually talk about how can we adopt a positive can-do attitude towards our work. What are the positive attitude? Number one is whatever the job, I can get it done, right? And whatever the obstacles, I can overcome, right? And these are all the characteristics of any person with can-do attitude. They are optimistic. They have initiatives because they take all the initiatives. They start the work, okay? They don't wait for anybody else, right? They always believe that it can be done, right? No matter how many obstacles they have determination, right? They feel the responsibilities, and they also are accountable, okay, to their supervisors or to the stakeholders, right? And again, sometimes we think that our bosses, our supervisors are the leaders, but we are not. That is not true, because you are leader wherever you are, because you will be leading something, right? And whatever you lead, that is an example for somebody who is following you. So you can make some examples for others, or whoever works with you, you can make examples for them. So actually, the leader is someone who make the positive examples for somebody else, because they have the followers. Everybody else follow them, right? And they are somebody who can influence others with their attitude, okay? And again, as I said, people always want to follow somebody who has good attitude, because if you make some examples, they will be always following you, and that's how it's always important to have some positive can-do attitude. And these are some interesting questions for our self-assessment. So we have some, we listed some questions here, and these are for everybody, for even ourselves. So if you ask this question to yourself, and if you find all the answers for you are yes, that means you have all the positive attitude that you need, right? If any of the question is no, answer is not for you, then you need to work it out, okay? So number one, is your outlook towards your work and co-workers generally positive, okay? So can you disagree without being disagreeable? Okay, because you can always disagree, but don't take it personal. Don't make it personal, because you can disagree for the sake of some common interest or for the interest of your company, right? Can you maintain your composure under pressure? Meaning, whatever the work you are doing, you have to have your temperament, no matter how close the deadline is, how much pressure you are feeling, okay, or how many personal things are going on, right? Because we all have personal life, right? We all have some pressure outside of our work, right? So we have to also deal with that. And do we seek responsibilities instead of waiting to be assigned? For an example, you see something to be done, and do we really feel that I'm the one who has to do it, or we just wait for somebody else? Sometimes a lot of times we complain, right? But we don't feel like if somebody like me should be doing it instead of complaining. Or do we stay positive when looking solutions are honest? It's like solutions to unexpected problems, because a lot of times we run into a trouble which we are not expecting, or we see a lot of problems on the way to our success, right? But we get frustrated, right? Still, we need the positive attitude. We can do it. We can make it happen. And it's always true that almost all and each and every successful stories and people in the world, they have some positive attitude. They felt the same that we are feeling today, right? They have the similar obstacles or even worse experiences than us, but they always, I think, fought for their success, right? They never lose their confidence. They never lose their patience, right? And also the positive can-do attitude. Okay. Now, how can we develop something based on our own assessment? If any of the any of the answers to the question that we have asked before is no, then we have to identify some specific steps to accomplish the goal. For an example, when I'm stressed, I'll focus on the tasks to be completed and not my fears. Or you have to measure the progress, right? See how much you are progressing, or you have to adjust your plan accordingly to see whether you can achieve the goal. Many times perseverance is the key, because you have to just wait, or you have to tolerate, or you have to bear with the problem, right? Stay with the problem. And again, these are some other positive attitude that you should have when you are in an extremely negative situation. Okay, because we always run, no matter whether we want it or not, we run into negative situation, right? I think nobody wants the negative situation, but they run into the situation because you have to always deal with the negative things. So what you can do to avoid the negativity in the negative situation, or if you want to stay positive, first of all, you have to avoid negative people. Okay. Number two, you have to spend your time with positive people. People who say, we have a problem, let's see what we can do to solve it, instead of just waiting for somebody else, instead of complaining, right? You have to help someone who is struggling at work or your life. That may be your friend, that may not be your friend, that may be your colleague, they may not be your colleague, but you should try to help them. So these are all we have for chapter 10 and 12. We'll have a section in test 2 from this part of the lecture. So make sure you go and review before the test, so that you can refresh yourself and you can get ready for the test. So there is no homework for this part. Okay. So the only homework we have is from the chapter 6 that we just talked about before this lecture. Okay. Let's go to the quiz section and let's finish the quiz for that chapter, and that will be what we have for today.